Number 225 in the Imprint range is this phenomenal set of The Bounty. Released in 1984, directed by Roger Donaldson. This has an amazing cast. If you're familiar with British programmes or actors, there is a wealth in here. Of course, we've got our main two players. We've got Anthony Hopkins, who's playing Lieutenant Bligh, and we have Christian Fletcher, played by Mel Gibson. Two men that are friends, that are going to join forces as Bligh has just been tasked with a wonderfully prestigious command of the bounty. They're going to go one way and pick up some fruit and go take it somewhere else. It's an interesting journey, and we watch these men as they join onto this ship, as we see the sailors, as we get an idea of the hierarchy between the officers and the rest of the enlisted men on this ship.
I seem to have made a misjudgment.
You don't make many, sir.
Make sail.
No.
As they set out on their journey, as everything seems kind of fine, Fletcher starts to notice how heavy-handed Bligh can be. His discipline is extreme, to say the least. And when he almost wrecks the ship, loses a couple of bodies, trying to navigate a certain point in the world, and he just can't do it, has to turn back, he really starts to turn the men. Everything takes a kind of turn for these characters when they hit Tahiti, their first stop, as they encounter the indigenous people there, as they make connections, as they start a great life, as they're enjoying being on the shore, enjoying the lifestyle, enjoying the people, the food, the drink, and the women. And this is kind of like the midway point for the story. And the wonderful story that comes after that is really great, and it sticks to the main points of the actual story itself. A few deviations and some omissions here and there, but I kind of love the way that we set this one up at the start. We have Anthony Hopkins sitting down right at the start talking about the mutiny. It gets it out. It leads that when is it going to happen point. And when we jump into the story with these flashbacks to Hopkins recounting why he did certain things, how it was happening, there's always that building tension. It adds more weight to certain points where they could have been just interesting moments. They now add to the weight of these men about to break. You can tell that it's all starting to build up, and it's a wonderful idea of telling this tale.
You, sir, are on trial. The question at issue is how you came to lose your ship.
When you see the characters eventually break, as they've been worn down, as they're told again that they're going to tackle that point they couldn't get by, the point where they felt they were all going to die, they can't take it anymore, and you're with them, and there's a severe loss of almost steam in the film itself. As you start to feel worn down, it's getting depressing, it's getting overbearing on me, the viewer. I'm starting to feel as if we're just watching these men suffer, and when they break, I was kind of with them, watching them break away from what's happening and try to get back to some resemblance of life. And I also liked how in the second half nobody's happy. It just kind of leads down to destructive paths, everything that they've done, and you'll never know if that was the right choice, the wrong choice, and it leaves on a kind of mythical what may have happened.
How do you think you're doing?
Time.
What are you doing?
But I loved The Bounty. I loved it because of the wealth of actors that we had in here, from Daniel Day-Lewis in an early role. Mel Gibson I thought was pretty good. Hopkins is always terrific, but all those familiar faces that popped up. Dexter Fletcher, Liam Neeson at certain points as well, Neil Morrissey, all these just familiar faces who were all giving stunning performances. The look of the ship, the way it's shot, the fact that you know it's like a real production item. It's not just shot in green screen or shot in a lot. It feels as if it's in this actual journey and you're with them. I loved the look and the people of Tahiti and spending time there, and how it felt like an actual paradise. I loved all of that. And the mutiny itself was the sort of down point of everything just turning. You can only take it so high before there needs to be severe lows, and that's it. And I found The Bounty to be really enjoyable. I hadn't seen this version of the story, and I found it to be, production-wise, it looked terrific. The performers were pretty great, and overall, I really enjoyed this one. What makes this as special as it is the booklet, the extra material, and the extra disc of goodness that's in this one. So let's buckle up and dive in and go through some of these amazing extras. Here we are in disc 1 of The Bounty. In the special features we have a commentary with the director Roger Donaldson, producer and production designer. We also have a second commentary with historical consultant Stephen Walters. The Making of the Bounty is a documentary narrated by Edward Fox. It's 52 minutes 36 seconds. It works as a kind of retelling of the story of the bounty mixed in with a making of talking head production during the filming of the film. Then we have The Bounty on Film, which is 12 minutes 26, talking about the various adaptations of this story, which is great. And the theatrical trailer, which is 2 minutes 7 seconds. That's the extras for disc 1. Here we are in the second disc for The Bounty, which is all special features and an absolute wealth of them as well. We have a Fated Ship documentary, which is 48 minutes 28 seconds. It's an archival featurette from the early 80s surrounding the construction of the Bounty replica and the early development of the film. Next up we have In Bligh's Wake documentary, 48 minutes 5 seconds. Again, it's another archival documentary charting the voyage from New Zealand to Tahiti to deliver the Bounty replica for shooting. Next up we have A Desperate Enterprise, directing the Bounty, interview with the director Roger Donaldson, 22 minutes 32 seconds, talking about how he started off working on Conan 2 when Dino De Laurentiis brought him in to direct the Bounty and the strange negotiating tactics. It's a great talking head, great interview. Next up we have A Long Hard Voyage, adapting Mutiny on the Bounty, which is really another great one as well. At 36 minutes 22 seconds, talking about the various adaptations, talking about, you know, even the plan David Lean turning the story into 2 films, going through the writers, how they created the story. It's wonderful. Next up we have Limits of Endurance, scoring the Bounty, which is 27 minutes 37 seconds, which is it's a fairly solid extra on this one. One of the best, if not the best on the disc, is Making Waves, a feature-length documentary with the Bounty film crew, which is an incredible 2 hours and 12 seconds and covers pretty much every story that you wanted to hear about the making of this. Tremendous amount of work went into this one. It's top tier extras. Next up we have Mixing Waves, interview with the dubbing mixer John Hayward, which is 31 minutes 23 seconds. Again, it's fairly interesting. He's quite captivating the way he's got stories to tell. Voyage of Our Own, interview with second unit cameraman Douglas Milsom, is another really interesting one. 28 seconds, 6 seconds, talking about how he filmed this. I had a little crew, how he filmed the B footage of the ship. It's one of those things that's probably lost to time if it wasn't captured, all these stories. And then we have finally the Bounty production slideshow, which is 37 minutes 33 seconds, with the score of the film showing us various behind the scene pictures during the making of the film. In addition to that, you also have a booklet in this one, which is really great. The Makings of the Mutiny, the story of the Bounty project and David Lean's 2 intended films, based on The Mutiny by Stephen Walters. This kind of delves into more about David Lean's extras that one of the extras talks about. Booklets aren't something that's prevalent a lot in imprint releases, but this is really nicely done as well. And that's the extras for this outstanding edition. So there we have it. The Bounty, another hardbox edition from Imprint, which is an absolute must get. Terrific film, amazing extras. They've really gone the extra mile here. Absolutely worth it. I would love to know your thoughts on The Bounty if you've seen the film. Are you interested in this package with all the amazing discs? Let me know in the comment box below your thought, whether you loved it, hated it, fell somewhere in the middle. There is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff, and in the description box below are links to the Patreon membership program and manvfilm.com. Always, which you can support me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.